Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your spring break. Hope you guys were able to get outside, enjoy the beautiful weather, and just kind of get some downtime to de-stress and relax and connect with your family and your friends and just, like I said, really enjoy that time off. And I hope you're eager and ready to get back. I'm ready to get back as well. Sorry, I had something stuck in my throat. Get ready to roll on through the rest of the year that we have together. You guys notice a little bit today, I don't have my hair styled or anything. Well, it's in a different style, I guess you could say. It is growing longer, so it's getting a little crazy, a little chaotic. So I went with this a little bit. Gonna look a little bit different probably going forward till I can get it cut again. So actually, if I were to take this and fully pull it all the way down, it actually cover most of my right eye here. So that's besides the point. I'm ready to go with whatever my hair is going to look like and roll into it. So I've had a lot of time to think recently, as I'm sure you guys maybe have had some time to reflect as well. And one of the things I've been thinking about is kind of this experience that you guys are, having to go through in your sixth grade year. And while I never experienced anything like this when I was in sixth grade, I did have, it got me thinking about what all was happening in my life as a sixth grader. What were the things I was experiencing? What were the aspects that I enjoyed and that I loved or maybe disliked about my sixth grade year? So I thought pretty in depth about that, and I thought it'd be kind of cool if I started to ask you guys maybe a little bit sixth grade trivia about myself, and then find out your answers to the question as well. So I'm going to start doing that at the beginning of these videos. You guys can guess, have some fun, and then tell me your answers as well. So today's sixth grade trivia about myself is I want you guys to guess what you think my favorite TV show was as a sixth grader. So during my sixth grade year, what was my favorite TV show? I'll give you a hint. It was on Nickelodeon. So that's a little hint for you guys. So go ahead and guess what you think my favorite show was. And then I want you guys to tell me what your current favorite TV show, whether that's on Netflix, YouTube, whatever, what your favorite entertainment to watch is. Okay? Go ahead and do that now. Alright guys, so my favorite TV show growing in sixth grade was a Nickelodeon show called Drake and Josh. It was really awesome. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend watching it if you have never seen it before. Pretty funny show. That was shortly replaced after, not too long after, it was replaced by a couple other shows, and then by my all-time favorite, which is The Office. So that is hands down all-time favorite show. Now, anyway, we're going to get started with Envision 7.1. So we're going into a new topic now, topic 7. We're done with topic 6, and we're not going to have a test on it. Okay, so no test on topic 6. We're rolling into topic 7. So for topic 7, that's going to deal with geometry. So now we're getting into the geometry part of our year. That's all topic 7. At the beginning parts of our geometry unit, we're going to look at finding area of some polygons, two-dimensional shapes. Then we'll look at surface area, some nets, and then volume of three-dimensional shapes as well. So to begin with area, 7.1 is going to deal with area of parallelograms and rhombi. Okay. Before we do that, we've got to recall some prior information as to what the formula for area of a rectangle and a square is. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to pop the question up to you guys. I want you to identify what you believe the formula to find the area of a rectangle would be. Go ahead and do that now. Okay, so hopefully you recall that the formula for area of a rectangle, I'm going to abbreviate as REC. The formula for area of a rectangle is the area equals the length multiplied by the width. Okay, so this is our formula. And if you recall in a rectangle, what's true about a rectangle is that opposite sides, you probably can't see it, but opposite sides here are congruent, and they're also parallel to each other, which is going to be important when we start talking about parallelograms and rhombi. So to figure out the area of this rectangle on your paper, you would write the formula for it, which is area equals length multiplied by width, and then you would substitute in what the length and width are. Now, generally, when we talk about length and width, usually our bottom side or our base is most often referred to as the length, and what goes from top to bottom, okay, or our side length here is usually width. All right, they're interchangeable, but that's generally what we refer to them as. So we would substitute in what we know. We know the length here is 9, and we know the width here is 4. Okay, so we can figure out our area by multiplying 9 times 4 together. I'd like you guys to take a moment and tell me what 9 times 4 is. Alright guys, so 9 times 4, when we do that, we get 36. Now what are our units going to be for this? Since we're dealing with area and not perimeter, it's not going to be just regular centimeters. Instead, since it's area, your unit for all area is going to be whatever your unit is, in this case it's centimeters, to the second power, or squared. Now it's very, very critical, important, crucial that your square, that the exponent 2, goes to the unit. Okay, it doesn't go to the number. You don't put number, then the square, or then the exponent 2, and then your unit. That's telling you that this number is going to be squared, and that's not what it is. Okay, the unit is what's squared. And why this works, okay, just a little review here in depth, because you're really doing 9 centimeters multiplied by 4 centimeters. Okay, you multiply the two units, or the two numbers together, and that's what gets you 36. Well, you also have to multiply the two units together. Well, since they're letters and not numbers, and do centimeters times centimeters, you actually get 2 centimeters multiplied each other, which would just be centimeters squared. Okay. You can also think of it, we're dealing with a 2-dimensional shape. We're multiplying together, so that's going to give us a centimeter squared. So this is what we would need to write down to show our work, and that would be our final answer. So area, the units are always squared. Let's keep on going. Let's look at a square now. So what's true about a square? Well, a square, all the sides are going to be equal. Okay? And a square actually has the same formula as, as a rectangle. So we have A equals the length multiplied by the width. Now you could also say for your formula for squares that A equals one of the side lengths squared, since your length and your width will be the same in a square. Okay? So we can go ahead and solve this out. Well, here we have the width, but what's the length? Well, since it's a square, all the sides are the same, so we know that our length and our width are both going to be 5 centimeters. This is why you can also do the squared, because it's going to be multiplying by the same number twice. So you can substitute in length and width, 5 and 5, and you get your area as 25. What's our units going to be? It looks like we have meters, so 25 meters, and then we put our exponent 2 floating above the meters, the m. All right. Well, now let's take this idea, this knowledge of area of rectangles and area of squares, and let's apply it to finding the area of 2 new shapes, okay? 2 new polygons. And the two quadrilaterals we're going to look at is a parallelogram and a rhombus. Well, let's start with the parallelogram. Okay. So what we're going to do with this parallelogram is we're actually going to make a triangle on one side and move it to the opposite side. So what you can do with a parallelogram is change it into a rectangle, okay, by making a right triangle. So notice how I'm trying to draw a straight dotted line all the way down to form a right angle, so a perpendicular angle. Well, this then creates this right triangle. And if you were to cut this piece off and move it to the other side of the parallelogram, let me draw my dotted line all the way down. Try my best here. And remove it and now put it there, you're actually going to form a rectangle. Let's take a look at this a little further. So here I've broken this part of the parallelogram off into a right triangle, and I've moved it and attached it here. So this is my drawing of it, but when you actually break it down, so here you've sliced off the right triangle, and now you're reattaching it to the parallelogram, which is now going to make a rectangle. Well, when you do that, recall that the formula for area of a rectangle is just taking the length and multiplying it by the width. Well, you can relate that to a parallelogram, since the width is basically the height, is the height of the triangle from top to bottom that you cut off from the parallelogram and moved to the other side. We can now associate, and instead of calling this the width, we can call it the height of this triangle that you would cut. And this length, which runs from one end of the rectangle to the other, is the same in the parallelogram when we talk about the base. So really the length is also known as the base. Okay? So our formula for area of a rectangle, which was area equals length multiplied by width, we can use this same idea when we talk about area of parallelogram. Instead of saying length and width, we can now say base and height. Okay? So area of a parallelogram is the exact same formula as area of a rectangle, except we just say base and height now. So we're getting a little more geometrical geometrical terms here. I'm going to move this out of the way. And that formula, as I said before, can be A equals BH. Let's take a look at some examples with this new formula for area of a parallelogram. So let's find the area of this parallelogram. Well, to do so, we're always, in every single time we're talking about area, volume, surface area, whatever we're doing that involves a formula, we're always going to write down that formula first. So since we want to find the area of a parallelogram, we're going to need the formula for a parallelogram. So we have A equals B multiplied by H, or BH. And then we have to identify each part. So in this case, we want to find the area, so we don't know what A is. So we can go ahead and write that, A equals. Now we need to substitute in the base and the height. So looking at this parallelogram, take a moment and tell me what you think the base is going to be. So if you had said the base was 7, that is correct. So we're going to substitute in 7 for the base. Remember, the base is what runs. It could be this side or this side, wherever. I can tell you a lot with finding area and with geometry. The right angle is kind of like the X marks the spot. It's always going to point to where the base is at. Okay, so in this case, the right angle is sitting on this base, so we're going to use that side line. So we have 7 as the base, and the height is going to be 4.5. When you multiply these together, alright guys, so you would end up with 31.5, and then we would need to write our units, which in this case would be centimeters. Since we're dealing with area, it's going to be squared. Okay, so 31.5 centimeters squared. Now go on and click to part 2 of this video.